Okay, we're back to live.
Good. So we're now headed down Broadway.
What the fuck? Charles,
What the hell is that?
backfiring. Jesus, that is really...
Yeah.
I don't need any of this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know. I mean, think about it. March 15th, New York was, coming into spring. March
I'm
15th.
sorry to interrupt you. Have you ever heard a car backfire before? I thought that's like 1930s stuff. That was a brand new car.
I have heard it, and it makes me wonder, was that backfiring or firecrackers?
Something that
what?
guy's trying to do to freak people out.
Yeah. Not cool. But, I mean, this, on a normal Sunday, even in the summer, keep going. This would be bustling with cars and people coming down shopping, tourists here from Europe and around the country. And this is pretty desolate.
A lot of wood still, yeah.
A lot of wood. I actually spoke to somebody high up in the police department about this, and I said, did you ever think that with all this wood here, it wouldn't take much for people to just throw gasoline and light the wood up multiple places at once, and then what's the fire department going to do?
Right.
I also, I saw a report, I don't know if it's true or not, that what they're doing, a trick people are using now, is when they get arrested, they immediately, pee on themselves.
Why is that?
Because there's a rule, if you do that, you have to, I forget, if you do it in an officer's car, there's some rule about the car becomes inoperable or whatever.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and so they're playing all kinds of silly games here, dangerous games. Now we see, this, obviously the owners were quite interested in having people draw graffiti, which is why it's all covered up with black now.
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
black graffiti matters.
there were some people who, it was amazing to me, I don't know if this was while we were live or what, but I was just saying that I was looking at the news this morning and it's talking about 10 shootings over the weekend, 2 fatal, more looting, more, property damage, a lot of fireworks, illegal fireworks. And then Andrew Cuomo puts out a tweet, tomorrow is phase 3, wear a mask, be a patriot. And I was just like, he said, wear a mask, be smart. And my response to him was that Andrew Cuomo telling people to be smart is like Chris Christie telling people to lose weight.
You get right to the heart of it there, Jason. Right to the heart of it.
Hey, is Adidas? The window is totally empty.
What?
It's empty. I mean,
Let's pass it.
so they're not reopened, and they're retail. This is all retail around here, not reopened.
Yeah, I mean, this is really.
Oh, there's another eye weeping. That's an odd fellow looking eye.
Where do you see it?
Well, that rose has an eye in it.
But remember the visit when we went down this last time, and the various graffiti, in quotes, you want to wait?
Sure.
Artists were saying, oh yeah, we have permission, we have permission, we have permission, and I don't see much of that art remaining. I think much of it has been blacked over, suggesting they didn't have permission.
Well, we could check it. We'll walk right by there. I tried a little bit to get in touch with whoever it was that they said gave them the permission, but I got distracted with other things before I was able to find out. I tend to agree with you that I don't think they had permission.
Right.
And also that French guy who I was talking to, who I don't remember if I was with you or if that was the next day, he was wearing those, what is it, like Instagram or Snapchat glasses that have a video camera in them?
Right.
So I presume he was recording everything. I don't know exactly how those work or how they could be modified, but I think that guy was recording.
Yeah. So this is Houston, East Houston Street, another big east-west thoroughfare, which certainly in March and April had no traffic.
Yeah, so things are picking up a bit. More people out, of course. Lots of stink eye for not wearing the mask. Is it the gas face or the stink eye, Charles? It's hard to tell the difference.
Careful.
That seems to be the new thing, is harassing people in their cars. There was an incident, I don't remember where it was, I don't remember, but some protesters were blocking a highway,
Right.
and then a guy crashed into them, and one of them died.
Yeah, one of
And now they put the guy in jail.
Well, he was going the wrong way at 1:30 in the morning, high speed.
Maybe he was being pursued by people with guns. I mean, wouldn't you do whatever you needed to do to get away in your car if somebody pointed a gun at you?
And the narrative was that, they haven't covered, well, they've covered some of it up. The narrative was that this was
Oh yeah, it was Victoria's Secret, right?
Yeah. That certainly looks like somebody purposely covered up the beautiful art.
But there was the one, maybe it was pink. I think it's still further down. Let's see.
It is.
So
This was
all
the bank where the
stuff is
bank building was knocked open. Window was knocked open
Right.
or something.
All right, so good. I guess the phone is cooling off a little bit.
Yeah, Jason, you see, the trick is maybe the phone should wear a jacket.
I mean, the wrist strap was implemented to avoid a number of problems, but I guess it just causes the thing to heat up. I tried something slightly different this week, but it didn't make a difference. Apologize to people for all the false starts. I hate it when that happens. So, the municipal bonds, not a good outlook.
Yeah, municipal bonds, it can make sense if you're a high-income person living in New York City. It can work out for you if the bonds are, the interest and the bond principal are actually repaid.
Yeah, so they did take it down, Charles.
Yeah.
Because that was a whole thing that said like F the police and whatnot.
Right.
And now it shows, people advertising pink, which makes much more sense. So yeah, they didn't have permission
Of
to
course not.
put stuff like that on the place.
Of course not. It's not.
Well, and all the wood is basically gone. This is still here.
Nice.
This has been augmented. That wasn't there. I would have definitely noticed that. I don't think they had permission to do this.
No, it's the Antifa.
Doesn't look like that art exhibit was too well received by the pink people.
That was art by people like me who flunked out of art class in 5th grade. But and so you were talking about municipal bonds. The challenge here is that when you are thinking about investing large sums of money in a place for long periods of time, and you see a place like New York flirt again, possibly with bankruptcy, you run.
When did New York go bankrupt? In the 70s?
It didn't go bankrupt, but it flirted with bankruptcy in 1970. I want to say 5 or thereabouts, but maybe 77, 78. And when you see go through that cycle, you see renewal, and then you see it retrograde behavior even worse than in the 70s, you give up.
Yeah.
And unwise. I remember under Obama, people were praising the wisdom of IMF chief, I think it was Lagarde, rescuing Argentina again. And I knew, when you study the history of Argentina, that nation, its national sport is going bankrupt. I mean, it's a beautiful place. I love it there, but it's not a place to invest money. It's a place to bring cash and go on vacation, enjoy the nice wine and steaks and the scenery. But you'd be an idiot to invest a penny in Argentina. And we're getting to that. We could be the Argentina of America here. New York City, that is.
Wow. Look, Nike store is all boarded up, Charles. These are major retail places that you would kind of expect to be open on by, phase 3 is coming tomorrow.
Right.
And these guys are still not even up to phase 2.
And this was exactly where we were, where all the artists were.
Yeah, more art removed.
Yeah, we've got the light, I think. We've got the light. Yeah, there's a Chase branch. I'm sure they want to have graffiti on it.
No, they wouldn't want that at all.
But this is a lot more open, actually, than it was the last time we were here, down here.
Yeah, it's true, it is. But it's definitely not remotely back to normal. And it's still a lot of businesses. Here, store for rent across the street there. And by the way, the concept of even one store being available for rent around here is pretty unusual. It's the type of thing where if a tenant is moving out, whoever is managing these properties very likely has a list of people who want to move in,
right.
And you would never even see a sign that says for rent.
These are the big chains here. Zara,
Yeah.
Pacific Sun.
This is the line to go into Zara.
Yeah.
No, or is it?
Doesn't look very, yeah, or it doesn't
It
look
is.
very crowded in the store. I mean, how could you be making money in that store? No way.
I mean, the other thing is, it's like, for food, it's one thing. That's like a necessity. But I think for a lot of people, shopping for clothing is almost a leisure activity.
Well, I think for some women, it's a daily thing.
Well, but you know what I mean.
Right.
There's the amount of clothes that you need to live, and then there's probably quite a bit of shopping at a place like that that is just leisure, disposable income, and entertainment. And if it's so unpleasant that you got to wait outside for an hour or a half an hour just to get in there, no one's going to want to do that.
Speaking to me about clothing and retailing is about like speaking to me about technology.
Right.
I'll offer the same value added, which is nothing. Oh my God.
I'll tell you, it's a very uncomfortable feeling right now. It's good that there wasn't any major disaster yesterday. A lot of people anticipated
Statues being pulled down.
right. I mean, there were some, of course, and then so with all this increase in violent crime, and the numbers are like 500% increase, 250% increase, and then I posted something about that, and someone's like, "What are you talking about?" Because I think the news is not really reporting it.
I've seen it reported. In Daily Mail had a big story on it.
But not too much. I don't think Martin Luther King would have supported what's going on right now at all.
No sensible person does. I mean, it's all you're doing is increasing instability.
Yeah. Racial tension.
And by the looting and the violence and the intimidation tactics, that helps nobody except, in theory, for a time, the thug.
Yeah, look, there's those eyeballs again.
Yeah,
I wonder if it's the same artist. Do you see a signature on there anywhere?
I don't.
So, Charles, what about Ghislaine Maxwell?
I think, well, the Ghislaine Maxwell story is interesting on many different levels. I mean, when we think back to Epstein, who in theory was wealthy, and in fact was in France, he wouldn't have had extradition protection.
Right, because he wasn't born there, but she was.
But he agreed. I mean, he willingly flew on his private jet, came back to the United States of America, and he had to have been under investigation. He didn't just start it when he got on the flight. So he had to know something was going to happen to him. And he arrives, probably thought he would be protected, and that proved out either to be correct.
Yeah, I think he's been disappeared, and I think so has she.
Yeah.
I really would like to hear. So you said you spoke to someone from NYPD this morning. Did you happen to ask
Not this morning, the other day.
Oh, well, because how long do you go without having a booking photo, without having a mug shot, without having paparazzi video from a cell phone of her, walking into court with her hand over her face? I can't believe nothing like that has come out.
It's a good question for the crowd. Certainly people in the crowd must know the rules. I mean, if in fact she was arrested in New Hampshire, in this particular town, I think it was Merrimack courthouse or something like that, then what are the rules in that particular town, and if it's a federal case regarding her arraignment? All the power to all the people.
Well, that's the Black Panthers, right?
Yeah. See, this is definitely not. And look at that. There's the police.
Demilitarize the police. I like demilitarize the police better than defund the police. That seems like a reasonable conversation to have. Yeah, this is, be a thug and
people running out of Gucci with
glorifying the looting.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, this is not reopened, Charles. I don't feel a sense of calm walking around. I will still not be going out at night. Still don't see too many police officers around. But just quickly back on Ghislaine Maxwell, I really do think that what we're seeing between Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell is a convenient way to disappear any and all evidence that might lead back to Bill Clinton. Well, and there's also a little double whammy in there in that something happened where, this basically got ignored, but there was an opinion and an order issued in Giuffre v. Dershowitz, which is why I called Professor Dershowitz again, and I was pretty surprised that he answered. He maybe didn't recognize my name, although the last time I called him actually let's wait here until that changes. The last time I called him after our interview where he got upset, he knew who I was right away, and he hung up the phone and refused to appear on the show again.
Yeah.
So when I called him now, I just asked him what he thought of Judge Preska's decision. Judge Preska is the judge in the civil matter of Giuffre v. Dershowitz, and she made, I didn't have a chance to read it, but she made some decision to cause Giuffre to destroy some evidence that was under seal, and that's weird to me.
So as I understand it, what happened was Giuffre's original lawyers were replaced.
Yeah, the Boys firm was disqualified when Dersh used that advocate witness rule, which I have employed in my own lawsuit, which is a whole other story.
And so the new lawyers wanted to have access to the evidence that Boyce had. And somehow, whether Boyce's firm gave it to them or how they somehow got this evidence. And that's the evidence that they're now saying should be destroyed because it wasn't obtained in theory lawfully. And I'm not really deeply into that case, but anytime so many people don't want you to see something
there that's got to be seen.
Probably not an A+ report card or a bank statement filled with millions of dollars in it. It's probably very damaging.
I thought that was a rifle shell, but it was a battery. Well, I agree with you, Charles, and I got to say, I don't know enough about the case or the law to definitively say this, but the spider sense is tingling, and I have a very, very strong feeling.
That Gucci manufactured stuff at Louis Vuitton down here, did you?
Yeah, I didn't know that either, but I have a very, very strong sense, Charles, that this civil case is being brought
to distract.
Not to distract, to manipulate evidence, to do things to witnesses, to suppress things and bring things out. And, I would be inclined to believe that Boyce and Dershowitz are pretending to be enemies in public so that they can work together to do things like this. If you're such an expert in law, imagine what you could do. It's like...
Yeah. But I do think, though, that the Epstein matter has been under investigation since his death. That I do think is the case. And you've raised, and others have raised, a lot of issues over the original, the leniency of the original deal, which swept the Epstein matter off the pages, Think
about how weird Dershowitz acted when I asked him about Alexander Acosta. He's like, that's a lie. Everything that he's saying, he's just running interference for the criminal stuff.
But going back to the timeline, this Dershowitz thing really heated up. The Epstein thing heated up, I believe, in 2007. And then the settlement was, entered into right before the campaign. So if Hillary had been the leading the nominee in 2008, the matter would have been put to bed. And so that's why I say, to get to the bottom of why the Russian hoax and why the bitter, ongoing and unrelenting campaign against Trump, you've got to go back into history and really study the facts. And so I believe Durham is studying those facts. And I hope he's gone pretty far back into the timeline. And now that we do have, maybe it's the appearance of progress, but the U.S. Attorney in the Southern District gave a press conference where she stated that there had been an indictment rendered by a grand jury. And if that's not the case, that's pretty serious stuff.
For her to say it and just be lying, you mean?
So I don't believe that she made that up. So the question, though, is how aggressive is the case going to be? And there's no question in my mind that Ghislaine Maxwell has a lot of dirt on a lot of people, as do others.
Right.
And so I'm hopeful that we're actually going to make some progress here, that people are going to crack. Look at this again. Incredibly intricate artwork. Brendan T. McNally, R. Von World,
I mean, that's impressive art.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of work went into this.
That's obviously somebody who's an artist who painted that. Much different than what we saw. Now, wait a minute, though. See that bird?
See
The wingtips up like that. Oh, look at all the symbols in that bird, Charles.
Well, this is private and office space for creatives. Private art and office space for creatives.
Well, that I would believe perhaps they've said, yeah, go out and do some murals.
Right.
And this is a combination of definitely pro-BLM, but also impressive artwork where I could understand someone saying, yeah, put that up there.
Yeah.
But I don't know, Charles, I can't shake this feeling that, you know, when they had Derek Chauvin, the mugshot came out right away after they said he was arrested. When they had Epstein, the mugshot came out right away. They had Field McConnell, a mugshot came out. Where the hell is the mugshot of Ghislaine Maxwell?
And how could she appear in the arraignment by video? How does that work?
Well, that I think they're doing because of COVID-19. They did do that with Field McConnell. He was arraigned by video. But, I mean, if that's the case...
Where was he?
He was in jail and they were in the court. I think some of these jails have video conferencing rooms. Somebody spoke to us about that. Either Lynn Ulrich was talking about Ross, or maybe it was Patty Stockman. Someone was talking about a video conferencing thing from jail, and definitely I saw something of Field McConnell being arraigned or some kind of hearing, but I just don't understand how there aren't reporters who are saying, oh, okay, I've just come out of the courtroom where Ghislaine Maxwell was heard, saying, all I've been hearing since they announced it is people reporting on it, and lots of really heavily produced, like 60 Minutes Australia, and like archive footage stuff, nothing that shows even a new picture of her.
Right. And so when the whole we think about that whole mess, in the period 2002 forward in the United States, I've been told by many people, every keystroke on any device,
Right.
the NSA has. So in that period, Epstein and Ghislaine and others were trafficking in all these teenage girls who, many of them were addicted to cell phones, messaging, probably telling some of their friends.
Well, if it happened before 2007, I don't know if that's true. The iPhone came out in 2006 or 2007, and I don't know that it was quite that.
Well, okay, but I'm talking about 2002 forward, right, to the present. There's tons, and there's got to be a lot of. I had a European phone on which you could use email.
Oh, it stinks.
Which you could use email, probably because of that.
Phew.
I had that in like 1998.
Yeah, they existed for sure, but I mean, it wasn't like it is today.
Right, but all I'm saying is, so there's probably a lot of electronic evidence that is out there that people have had for a long time. And then do you want to go that way or?
Whatever you want to do.
I mean, that's to the chop.
Oh, yeah.
And so people have had a lot of time to study it, and the issue here should be to study not only the crime itself, but the investigation. You're talking about Acosta. You know, why did Acosta allow such lenient treatment of Epstein?
And didn't Dershowitz orchestrate the deal? How could he say that's a lie? He would know everything about it, and
he should.
Why would Acosta lie, and why would he quit his job like the next day? It just seems very much like he said something they didn't want him to say.
Exactly. So what do we have in focus here, Jason? Is that
That's the courthouse, I think.
So building, and so City Hall is a little bit.
It's to the right. But this is a better way to approach it, because what I've been seeing. Yeah, let's go to the shady side of the street. What I've been seeing has been not good over there. This is the home of the FBI, Charles.
Really?
Isn't it? It's the Jacob K. Javits Federal Building. I don't really know too much about it.
I thought the home of the FBI leadership was the swamp.
Exactly. I don't really know too much about Jacob K. Javits other than...
He's a senator.
Uh-huh. Why does he have that
He's a famous senator
convention
from New York.
center?
What kind of like Schumer models himself on Jacob Javits?
Does he?
Sort of. Yeah.
It's not good.
I know.
So, I mean, this is a disgrace. There definitely hasn't been enough reporting on this New York City Chaz. The fact that they've allowed it to develop at all, I think, is a huge mistake. Seattle is deteriorating. We now have what was it? It wasn't the Black Liberation Army, but it seems like a modern incarnation of that. Armed, really heavily armed militia, like it's calling itself like the Black Militia or something.
Yeah. No standing FPS?
Yeah, what does that mean?
I don't know.
Federal Police Service?
So where is this?
We got to go up a little bit here.
Okay.
It's right in City Hall Park, and we're in Foley Square right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is a lot of money was spent on these buildings.
Yeah.
The carbon footprint of these buildings is probably pretty intense.
I haven't spoken about this too much, Charles, because I've been kind of keeping it quiet until it's over, but I've just on Friday had a major setback in my lawsuit, Steele v. Goodman. So that's quite troubling.
Look at all the graffiti over there.
I know, and they haven't cleaned it off yet.
All power to the people? That's not Black Lives Matter.
Well, but why don't they clean it off the next day? I just don't understand why de Blasio, I mean, there's got to be some mechanism for removing a totally incompetent mayor.
Yeah.
He's ruining the city.
I mean, that guy seriously thought he had a shot at being president.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, maybe he could be president of Cuba.
I just don't even think he could be president of the PTA.
But this is bone quiet. Here.
Yeah. But I think when we come around this corner, it might be a bit different. I mean, listen, with any luck, it's been cleared out last night, but I don't think so.
You know,
there's a lot of security around here that's pretty particular to the courts and everything. So that's also a pretty interesting contrast that they are able to control the flow of traffic into this neighborhood in ways that they do not anywhere else in the city, but yet just a few blocks away, right around this corner, we're going to see what's happening with the New York City Chaz.
I think we can call it the slop.
Yeah, it's the City Hall Autonomous Zone.
Or the crap.
I think you can already smell it.
Yeah, well, that's because people are now just, you know, doing their business on the street and subway.
Right. Luckily, there's no alleged pandemic that could be contributing to.
Here's a few cops.
Didn't Italy just decide that it's transmitted through feces? So why don't we let everybody crap all over the street?
What's this? Viva Puerto Rico Libre. No justice. Socialism or barbarism?
I think we got both of them right now.
Fuck 12, revolution
Look
in
at
our
this.
time, Communist Party. How come this stuff isn't cleaned up?
Why aren't they taking this off this building immediately? Here's what they want to abolish, Charles. The police, prison, and capitalism.
Right, it's all written in the same
Right, so it's
handwriting,
one person doing it.
Should be possible to figure out. There must be cameras.
I was going to say.
Oh yeah, there you go. My God.
I told you. I mean, it's a disaster.
I think we will stay. Stay safe, guys. Look at this.
They're safe over here. All the action is
no filming.
No filming. So if we
let's
go in there, it's going to be a problem.
Let's go.
Obviously. Yeah.
Across the street.
No filming.
Yeah.
They don't have a right to tell us not to film.
It's not a question of right
No,
and
but
wrong.
they're going to do violence. I mean, that's the thing. So look at this. This is what I'm saying. The people who are like, oh, what are you talking about, chaos in New York City? What I'm talking about is we got police standing right there next to a sign that says, fuck the police. Graffiti all over court buildings, a bunch of bums closing off a public park and telling us what the new laws are. You're not allowed to film in there. And the cops are just standing around. Where the hell is de Blasio? They should go into City Hall and drag him out.
He's probably not. He's probably out in the.
Have all my equipment.
He's probably out in the Hamptons, in Martha's Vineyard.
Charles, this is exceptionally terrible.
I know. Let's see if we can find a place that's in the shade. And
yeah, because it's going to overheat pretty quickly over here.
I think if we go over there, maybe under those trees, we might be able to. Do you have telephoto on that?
Not really.
Do you want to wait in there, or do you want...
No, we can keep going this way, I think.
See, there's somebody filming right there.
Yeah.
We can go, Jason.
Well, I mean, you know, like they really don't have any right to tell you not to film, but if you go in there, you're going to get swarmed and attacked.
Now let's see how many.
It's less people than it was last week, but it's more tense.
Charge all the cops.
That seems reasonable.
Let's get into it. And of course, the helicopters.
I mean, what are these cops doing over here? Why don't they?
I don't know.
I never realized that Kata, the video camera bag company, also uses that bizarre swirl as its logo. They make good bags.
Well, this is disgraceful.
This is a lot less people than when I came here last week, but I don't know. They seem to have tents that they're living in now, so it's become an encampment.
Not a hell of a lot of white people.
Right. Let's see your face, buddy.
Uh-oh, here comes a...
Oh boy.
What were you saying about a lot
This
less
guy
people?
took a picture of me right as I walked by, and he seemed very interested in taking a picture of me.
Maybe let's go... That's coming right towards us. Should we go over in there?
Can we go in there? It looks
No.
closed.
Let's see. Or let's stand next to the cops.
Sure. I mean, this is a real bad scene here, Charles. Pig pen. I mean, they're just
Blue lives
allowing...
murder. No filming without permission.
No filming without permission. Like, so now we need their permission to be in public spaces in New York because these people have just taken over and they think they have the right to tell people what they can do in public spaces.
I think... Now let's look at this guy with his stick.
Well, he's, that's his, what is that again? Tai Chi.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're right on time apparently, Charles. What do we want? Anarchy. When do we want it? Now. This phone is feeling really hot again. It might cut off at any point.
Do you want to get into the shade?
No, I mean, we're in the shade here, but it's just super hot out. If it cuts out again, I'll just put everything, you know, conjoined on subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth.
It's not that many people actually, but they are heading right towards us. You want to go that way?
Well, let's see. They're going to fill this thing up, I think. It's coming through.
I think we should go this way. What? Is there?
It's unbelievable to me that they're not clearing out that occupied zone.
Yeah.
That's just the wrong message to send. So
It really is.
I mean, these cops have obviously been ordered to stand down, or that would be cleared out.
Right. I mean, they would have shut the bridge. The pedestrian traffic of the bridge. Now let's see. Can we see anything from here? Oh, they're coming our way. Let's keep walking.
Well, we could cross the street to Pace University if you're uncomfortable with that.
Well, no, I just don't want to be in the middle of them filming. I think
Well, yeah,
you're just going to get knocked down.
definitely going to get hassled.
But now they stop. See, we're a safe distance away. Is the picture good, or should we
Well,
go
we'll go a
closer?
little closer, yeah. I just
yeah,
totally object to this, Charles.
That's why.
How come Mayor de Blasio won't let you guys shut that down in the park there? Vagrants, right? I mean, that doesn't normally ever get allowed to be done. Can't talk. I get it. I understand. Be safe, guys.
Yeah, they're coming our
these
way.
officers
We'll keep
can't really speak to us about whatever it is that's going on.
Where are they going, do you think?
I think they're following us wherever we go, Charles.
It's be like the time I was in Nairobi in 1977 in February, and I thought a bunch of us were like 11 spoiled white kids and one spoiled black kid at a junior year abroad in the University of Nairobi, and we said, well, let's go to this meeting of the students.
Oh,
outside.
Students for a Democratic Society?
No, just like a student rally or something like that. And as we approach, people turn around. We're 11 white people and 1,000 or more Kenyans. And next thing you know, somebody says, CIA. And somebody else says, CIA.
About you guys?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then they start throwing rocks.
Oh my.
And I have, it's the second fastest I've ever run in my life getting away from that. The
Well,
first
I'm
being
sure.
the time I saw in West Africa, The Exorcist. They're still
Okay,
coming.
why don't we go over here to 33 Park Row? Oh, we just lost the light. I mean, they're probably going to walk around City Hall Park, right?
Well, let's just see. We could end up over across that street if they could come and then follow them from behind. I bet you they're going to go back to Washington Square Park. Careful.
Record, you stupid idiot!
Yes, you are.
Well, he seemed intelligent.
Yeah, he was. Rhodes Scholar.
Yeah, I don't understand what's going on that random people think they can tell everybody what to do.
That's cancel culture. You know, that's the Mike Bloomberg elitists think they know more than anybody else. They have all the answers, and if you're not doing what they say you should do, you need to be told what to do. And if you persist in obstructing, you get you lose your job, you lose your
You want to
livelihood.
go across the street
Yeah,
there?
let's go across the street. There are a lot of cops here.
Where? Oh, yeah,
All
the
over.
cars, yeah.
I'd say if we go in over there by the cops, we'll be fine. I just don't think generally it's a great idea to be walking in front
Yeah, I
of
don't
a
want to
mob.
antagonize them. I mean, they know the cops aren't going to do anything. Like all these other encounters, people probably weren't quite sure that the cops were totally standing down, so they were maybe reluctant to do violence or more reluctant.
I'm just talking about the advisability of not being able to see people coming up behind you.
Yeah.
Tends not to be a great move. You see, this type of argument is just completely not a peaceful protest. If you don't get what you want, shut it down. That's highway robbery.
It's a threat.
Now look, do you see? We have a guy with a megaphone, right, in front. And let's look.
Yeah.
It's a pretty scraggly group at this stage. Right, it's in a week or 2 weeks ago, it would have been 500 people. This is a very small group,
It's true.
a loud and small group.
Here's another one of these things.
And the question is, what is it?
Well, justice, according to them. Which, of course, justice is, they decide what you get to do, where
Well,
you get to go.
Why would you need justice if you defund the police?
They're streets, Charles.
Yeah.
So we're not allowed to walk on them or record things.
These are more serious police here. Strategic Response Group. Those are.
That's the
rough guys.
counterterrorism guys. They're mobilizing.
Actually, I would say, people were giving Trump a hard time about the Tulsa rally. I
Yeah.
think this is a big fat goose egg, right? I mean, this is not. You would have expected to see a lot more people out. With all the wind-up, it's the end of a holiday weekend.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's also possible that people are out rioting late and they're just waking up. I mean, the thing that concerns me more than the size of the protest crowd is that we've got a mayor who's just fine with a vagrant encampment outside City Hall, but only a month and a half ago or 2 months ago shut down a reasonable, non-fecal, actual peaceful protest.
Involving.
Well, me and those people who felt that it was unconstitutional to lock people down and force them to use a prophylactic medical device.
All right. Let's stay on this
Yeah.
side. So what do you think they're just going to go back around?
Hard to say, Charles.
We'll be able to see. Should we keep going?
Yeah, let's keep walking back uptown here. So I don't have the wrist strap, so I can't really track the comments, but I think we're live.
Good. Yeah, honestly, this is, you have many more people trying to get to a Trump rally than, this wouldn't even be several rows in a Trump rally.
Right. Well, and then the other thing is, people are sending me articles where it says about how, this or that Trump-related thing or bars or whatever are closed, but protests are allowed. Gatherings, public gatherings are prohibited, but protests are allowed.
Yeah. And those people are certainly not even 3 feet apart, let alone 6. Nor are they wearing masks.
Right.
Of course, I'm not sure it'd be such a great idea to have a whole bunch of angry rioters wearing masks.
Well, it's
Kinda
a
like the
terrible
fact that-
idea. We want to be able to identify them.
Yeah.
I mean, that is absolutely something that is being used to the advantage of the rioters. When I was watching that video of the people destroying the Christopher Columbus statue, most of them had sunglasses, masks, a hat. How are you going to identify that person?
You're not.
Could be
So
anybody.
they're going back.
Yeah, I mean, they could be meeting up with another group.
What do you figure? Should we follow them, or do you want to?
Well,
Sensitive that we'll get in the heat.
yeah, I'm not so worried about that. We could see where it lands and maybe go check it out. I mean, obviously they don't want to film us, so we're now in a moment where even just showing up with this equipment is going to be considered agitation by them. I mean, we've seen how people have acted in the past.
At least there are more police. I mean,
This is actually less police than there were when I first came
well,
here.
when we first got out, there were no police.
Whoa, is that graffiti on City Hall?
It seemed.
I think there is. Let's go look at that.
Let's wait till the
Yeah, the light. So Charles, when you hear that there's like a, what was the percent increase in violent crime? 250%?
It depends where you're looking at. One place was 500 or 600, another was 250. It's not good.
Right.
It's unlike your 401k. When your 401k goes up 600%, you're happy. But
Come
when
on, New
violent,
Jersey, this guy's got to drive.
violent crime goes up, when
That was
violent,
obviously our fault.
when violent crime goes up 650%, that is not good. Now they're going up the steps of something there.
Whoa, that's City Hall.
Let's stay back though, just because I don't want.
So, but there's definitely graffiti right there on City Hall.
and it's
I mean,
Black Lives Matter.
how much abuse is the mayor willing to subject the city to? I mean,
Look, they're up on the top of it. Let's hang back here, Jason, so we have enough time
right?
to distance ourselves.
So here's another guy. He's taking orders from the cell phone, biking around with his backpack. These cops don't seem to mind.
Look, they're heading in.
Into City Hall.
Yeah, I wouldn't get much closer.
There's an EMT.
Kill pigs. See that to your right?
Yes, that is.
They're definitely going to make an issue, Jason, of you.
All right, this is City Hall, and they've got kill pigs.
F-anon?
I don't know what F-anon is.
Transphanon, maybe? This could be one of these scouts.
This guy here?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely he is. He's probably up to no good.
Yeah. Watch behind you.
It's not on you. It's pointing over here.
Be careful, Jason.
This guy's telling me what to do.
Yeah, I know.
Don't put that camera on me. Wait, who the hell does that guy think he is?
Jack Nicholson.
Why are the police not right here?
See it? You see the organized megaphone? I've seen tons of people with that same white megaphone there.
Yeah, I see it.
But it's a pretty motley crew, Jason.
I mean, that's also a fairly standard megaphone that you would get, I think. I
do
don't
you
know,
think?
Charles. I don't like these people who feel emboldened to tell people what to do. I've seen similar types of conversations with the police, guys telling the cops what to do.
Yeah.
This is where it starts. I mean, that guy would have done whatever he wanted. Those cops standing right over there behind the fence wouldn't have done a thing to help me.
Too busy texting.
Yeah.
So our choices, Jason, are we could go.
Wouldn't it be safer for people if you guys were on this side of the fence?
I'm sorry?
Wouldn't it be safer for people if you guys were on this side of the fence?
No, we're fine. We don't want to interact with them. We just here, they're safe.
I was just threatened by somebody and you guys are behind a fence. There's no cops over here. Well, he's gone down there. I don't know his name, but you guys are behind a fence. That is really a terrible thing to say to somebody, because the point is, if you're patrolling the streets, then people don't threaten people. If my head gets cracked on the sidewalk, I'm not going to be able to call 911. Tell Mayor de Blasio I hope this fence gets overrun. Charles, we got to retrain the police. We got to defund the mayor.
Got to defund certain senators and congresspeople. Which way do you want to head up? Do you want to go that way, or do you want to go back up Broadway? Or
whatever you want to do. Let's go a different road than what we came down so we can see some...
Yeah, let's go one in.
Yeah, see some different stuff. I mean, we basically get the idea. The police have stood down, as they have from the very beginning of this coronavirus situation, and they have allowed a truly dangerous situation to evolve. We haven't seen it fully formed yet. It's just going to get worse, but we can see inklings of, these perpetrators becoming emboldened. The police, I haven't thrown any Molotov cocktails at them. That woman's response to me was shitty at best.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's probably...
Call 911. That's what the police say. If you're threatened, if you're harassed, they won't do anything until somebody hits you in the head with a brick.
Right.
When it's too late. Okay, we got hooligans skateboarding all over the sidewalk, which you're not allowed to do.
Right.
It is a lawless environment here.
And this is at daylight.
Right.
At night it's far worse.
I just haven't been out.
I haven't either, but just watching it,
Yeah.
When the city lets it be known to the thugs worldwide that, mayhem is okay.
Yeah, come to New York.
Mayhem isn't... New York is for mayhem.
Right, if you're in Pennsylvania, if you're in Seattle, wherever, drive your, crappy car, and you can sleep in City Hall Park, and there's free ziti, and the cops aren't going to do anything, and you can threaten passersby, intimidate people, create a situation where nobody wants to be in New York.
Right.
De Blasio there's got to be some repercussions. This cannot go on.
There is going to be. You on the question of municipal bonds. I think it'd be interesting to see how New York City municipal bonds start trading.
Can you short municipal bonds?
Yeah, absolutely.
Seems like the thing to do.
It's not something to do for people who...
Yeah, I don't know anything about
day-to-day
stocks, bonds, shorting,
See,
anything like
shady
that.
side is the other side.
Yeah. Yeah, we got the light. Oh, sorry, Charleston.
That's all right.
I kind of fell off the curb there.
It's okay. You fell
It's
off
still
the wagon.
pretty. It's still pretty sparse down here,
Yeah.
and like little pizza places I've noticed have put tables outside. Happy Land looks unhappy, Charles. They're out of business.
I think this should be FLON.
A lot of places out of business.
Yep. Smoke and vape shops open. It's good to know.
Yeah.
I don't get smoking, but for the life of me, I really do not get vaping.
Oh, it's terrible. I mean, you see people vaping those things. It's like a friggin' chimney.
But what's the point?
I guess, I don't know.
I mean,
it tastes like something.
Is there any reaction triggered by it?
Well, they have weed vapes and they have, cigarette vapes. So I guess if you like cigarettes, it does the same thing. And
Should we go one more in, do you think, or should we?
I'm happy to go wherever you'd like to go, Charles. It's just interesting to observe, the levels of activity or lack. I mean, on a day like today, normally all these stores would be open. I've noticed that, places that were 24 hours have now, they're opening at 7 a.m. and closing at 9 p.m.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, nice to see you. Yeah.
Hi.
How are you? I know this guy. We're walking. Nice to see you. I know
Huh.
that guy from Starbucks.
No, that's all right. That's startled me.
Yeah, I know. He's a nice guy.
Razzle Dazzle Barbershop closed.
Yeah. He's
See, the problem is, Charles, we walk around now and you just don't feel comfortable. So anybody says something like that and it's like such a heightened level of anxiety. It's a very, very unpleasant, constant pressure.
Yeah, that guy. I'm surprised he has a car. I mean, that guy used to more or less live in the Starbucks on Grove Street.
That looked like a pretty expensive SUV.
It's a Cherokee. Yeah. But you know, and he has in the past. At one point, he said, you know, it's my 50th birthday, and I don't have any money, and so evidently his fortunes have improved.
Yeah.
So
It's like, Charles, I can barely make the payment on my second car.
I got to pay for the Hampton share. Skateboards and bikes.
Yeah.
Oh,
here's our favorite.
That's the Long Lines building.
That's the 33 Thomas.
That's what?
That's the crazy NSA building. No windows, 33 Thomas Street.
But isn't that the AT&T Long Lines building?
Well, it was, but it got taken over by the NSA. They have Prism in there, so that is like a major routing hub for, I think, AT&T and Verizon.
Oh.
And NSA, according to, what's his name? Edward Snowden and Bill Binney, say that building is totally NSA.
So just going a little bit in a slightly different direction, the art department, major league credit.
Oh yes, thank you. Barely got a
And
chance to speak about that.
Really nice. And I was talking to my dad, who is actually anti-Trump.
Yeah.
But I was talking to him a little bit about the ceremony out there in South Dakota, and the sculptor. And my dad, at almost 94, has this incredible memory. And he said, "Yeah, it's a funny thing about that sculpture. What's the name of it again?"
Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore. He said the sculptor of that also did a smaller sculpture in Washington State, at some location near the Columbia River, I think. He said, "Yeah, and I was there with my grandmother and started talking to this guy.
He was the guy who created it.
He was the guy." It was like, oh, my father's Zelig. He's everywhere.
That's funny. I got to tell you, you know, I don't know if people remember this because it's been a while ago at this point, but I went there with Quinn Michaels.
Right.
And despite the fact that he and I aren't working together anymore, we did some excellent shows over there. And I didn't really ever care too much about Mount Rushmore or even think I necessarily wanted to go. We were there to look at a large Hadron Collider,
Right.
which was pretty interesting. But we went to Mount Rushmore, and I got to say, there was nobody there but me and Quinn. And it's incredibly impressive to see it. I mean, we were just standing right in front of it, looking at it. And the fact that somebody would want to destroy that.
It's absurd. It's just, you know, it's a standard kind of thing, you know, that it's a protection racket. That's all it is. You know, it's an old game. It's been played. The Vikings did it. The Romans did it. I mean, it's very old. Is that a value to you? Okay. You know, we're going to destroy it unless you give us something. And
I'm really at a point where I want to see a firm reaction to this, Charles. I mean, I really think that there needs to be a new level of law enforcement introduced where...
should we go? Have we gone that way before?
Whatever you want to do.
Well, I'm just...
Doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
I just want to see a really powerful response to let people know this is not protesting. This is an insurgency. If you're going to put together an army and arm them and march up the street and start shaking people down at their cars, that's not a protest. That's not the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
That's intimidating people. That's...
Megadeth bullshit.
I mean, that's an invasion. That's an army invading, and they should be treated as such. They should be given a fair warning to lay down their arms and surrender, and then they should be treated like an invading army.
Yeah, I quite agree. So I think the timing is good, Jason. We can maybe jink in that way, staying in the shade on this for a while, but then head up to Washington Square Park, where I bet you
Something's
they're gonna get back there again.
Yeah. It's really sad, Charles. You know, people send me emails every day, "Oh, you should leave New York." I don't want to, but it's becoming sort of, you know, so unpleasant to be here that it's something I've been thinking about quite a lot, but it's just not that easy. I mean,
you don't want to be the last one to leave.
Yeah,
But I actually, so far, I have to say that little melee we saw just now is a sign to me that the enthusiasm is cooling. But yeah, I could be wrong.
no, I agree. I mean, it's certainly different than if it was twice as big as it was last week.
Well, and yesterday I was in Washington Square Park with my brother, and there was quite a scene. But again, it was peaceful, just a lot of yelling, stupid stuff.
The thing that bothers me is what we just saw with that guy telling me don't point the camera. I mean, he should mind his own business and just walk away if he doesn't want to be on the camera. The fact that he's gonna, intimidate me and tell me what to do, I just don't really appreciate that.
Well, I think a lot of people don't know and believe that you have some right in public not to be filmed. Most people don't understand that that's not the case.
Right, and when we had a normal city where people realized that if you start fights with people and attack them in the street, you're likely to get arrested, they were more reluctant to do that. Now
Right.
that they feel confident that you can throw bombs at police cars and destroy public property and nothing will happen, they're emboldened to intimidate somebody like me to get me to do whatever they want.
Right.
Now, Charles, do you know, this is something that I have noticed that obviously has got to be some sort of masonry style, but you see those arches, how they have like alternating color,
Right.
concrete and everything. So I noticed that is the way Jeffrey Epstein's, Pimp Island or whatever it is, was that temple on his pedo island had that.
I think that's an architectural style, but
Yeah, but I mean, I wonder what that's all about. So here's another Verizon truck, by the way.
they're everywhere. Do you want to
And-
get some tataki sushi?
Definitely.
I'm sure
not.
that's really good.
Well, I normally really like tuna tataki, but I've never been to that place. And also we can see that they're hard at work building a thing. The other problem these restaurants are going to have is that I don't want to sit outside right now. It's hot.
It's too damn hot. And who's paying for this rent?
Well, I mean, no one is eating here, so people remember
exactly
that
the island.
this is a weird Time Warner. Their logo is the what is that thing called again? The
Here's that guy you saw
Eye of
before.
Horus.
With the,
You're right. Is that the same guy we saw in the park? You're right. It is. It's the same guy we saw in Washington Square Park.
so I suggest we go up the left side of this street,
Yeah.
which will be not quite as hot.
Why isn't this place using the sidewalk?
It's very seriously closed, it looks like.
Yeah.
Careful.
Yeah, I mean, there's no sense that, here, let's just wait here in the shade. There's really no sense, Charles, that the mayor and the governor are remotely in touch with what's going on in the city. And, even when I put out a tweet or responded to your tweet or something, oh no, I think I put a tweet for this video, the first video, that said something to the effect of, New York City is descending into chaos, and somebody was like, what chaos? And I was thinking to myself, are you actually joking,
Or
or?
just emulating me. What yellow vest?
Right. But I mean, it's also possible that it's just not really being reported. The news doesn't do what we're doing with like walking around and,
Sure.
actually interfacing with people on the street and looking at what a mess everything is and how many businesses remain closed.
Well, what this has done, for example, to the educational system, but also to, let's say, 11th graders rising into senior year who are trying, it's so hard to get a summer job in that time frame, a good one. You can work maybe in your country club or at a swimming pool or something, but to get an office job or a thinking job, very tough. And so this entire summer, I bet you those jobs have been pulled way back.
Yeah.
I bet you full-time job offers have been pulled back, those that were accepted for people who graduated in May and June. Let's go there. And so, that damage, the interruption in the cycle of education, and the taking of people who until now had been accustomed to either working or studying, now they've had a 4-month break. You've had a 4-month break and you're a slacker.
Right.
Are you ever going to work again?
Yeah, it's not a good thing.
I mean, it's just not good.
Well, and what about the people who have gotten into trouble in that time, gotten into drugs, drinking too much?
Right.
This is a place that's previously been kind of crowded when I've been by it. Oh yeah, the Soho Grand.
Yeah, I mean, this is
Premium
currently-
hotel.
Yeah, prime territory.
Smells nice, that hotel. Doesn't it smell like perfume or something?
It does. Anything smells like nice.
Yeah,
compared
it's
to-
counteracting the stench of urine.
in New York City, garbage stench. Ode de Blasio.
So, I
So-
mean, we've got like 3 tables out here. I don't really understand how a restaurant can... That place is lucky enough to have kind of an interior courtyard.
Yeah. These are the dunce caps that the progressives should be wearing. Actually, birthday hats, but. Pardon me, are you a Democrat? But, so back on the question of Mount Rushmore
Yeah.
and statues and things like that. I thought Trump, in his speech at Mount Rushmore, did a really good job providing a thumbnail sketch of each of the 4 great heroes who are on Mount Rushmore. And I don't know, did Trump sign an executive order to put himself on Mount Rushmore? Is that why it's
No, that was just... I signed an executive order to put Trump on Mount Rushmore. I thought that was...
I mean, that definitely is a T-shirt. That definitely is. I don't
Well,
know.
I mean, I have been working to get the elements together to make that book, but
It's a
as
lot
I
of work.
mentioned earlier now, I've been thrust back into a very precarious position with this lawsuit.
Yeah.
We mentioned earlier in the broadcast that I went to that Ghislaine v. Dershowitz and learned about the advocate witness rule, and I was attempting to utilize that to disqualify the attorney for the plaintiff in the case, and the judge denied it.
Well, let's
So
hope.
now I've been ordered to appear in court in Virginia in less than 2 weeks. It's a major,
I'll bet on you.
yeah. Yeah, so that'll happen.
So this is actually pretty nice down here.
Well, it's quiet, which is nice. We're
Very.
pretty near the Oddfellows place. It's place, it's place, it's place, it's place, it's place, it's place, place. Boy, so here, do me a favor, Charles. Hold this for just a second.
Get in.
Let's get in the shade. It's funny, I mentioned the Oddfellows and it got upset. Just take a second to solve this. See if that... Check, check, check. Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Got it?
Yep.
Now, how can this be legal to take up this much of the sidewalk?
Well, yeah, I don't know. Everything that's not legal is now legal, and everything that was legal is now illegal. So it seems like up is down and down is up. Cipriani's got a lot of tables out here.
There used to be a lot of art galleries down around here. I don't know if there still are.
This place is selling masks.
Not doing a good job of it.
Well, you know, it's interesting that we haven't seen any kind of real official presentation of some kind of scientific data addressing the efficacy and the safety of the masks. I mean, if you watch mainstream news, they just state matter-of-factly that yes, there's scientific data to show that masks prevent the spread. But then if you watch alternative news, they say, no, there is no scientific data to show that, and there's scientific data that shows that it makes you sick for various other reasons. And then people say, oh, but in Asia, people wear them all the time and they're not getting sick.
Right? They die of other things. But I mean, I think what I read is that if you're not near anybody, if you're not infected and you're not near anybody, there's no point in wearing a mask.
I think if you're not infected, there's no point in wearing a mask.
Right. Well, unless you're right next to somebody, right? I mean, maybe.
I don't care. I mean,
But then you saw the study that people under 45, basically a 0% chance of,
well, that means I'm high risk.
oh well,
Right on the cusp.
right on the cusp.
But seriously, I mean, dangerous and deadly viruses have existed forever. I've been rolling around almost 50 years. You've been here longer. My immune system's been okay up until now. And I mean, it's funny, Charles, of all the people that come on the show, when I ask people who are in different parts of the country and different parts of the world, do you know anybody who's had coronavirus?
And died.
Well, that's an even smaller group, but the number of people who know people who have had it, it seems to be almost always, oh yeah, my neighbor's mom. Did she die? Well, she didn't. We don't know. She was 90 and she fell out of a building.
She was in a hospice. One of our mutual friends has a friend who a young person who tested positive for COVID, and is in the health profession and is convinced that it was a false positive. And there are a lot of false positives as well. And of course, with the incentive to continue the lockdown and the complete.
Hey, look at that.
What?
There it is, the eyeball. Continue the lockdown and the complete, conflict-prone nature of the health and government industry. I don't believe any of this. I don't believe any of it either.
And I don't think they're so very smart that they're inflicting this on us for a long period of time, knowing that the next virus is coming really will be very serious, and people will have their guards down given this Chicken Little period.
How could they know that the next virus is coming and very serious unless it's a bioweapon that they're unleashing?
Right. Exactly. But I also like the degree to which Trump has been calling China out, not just on the U.S. behalf, but on behalf of all nations. And WHO had to sheepishly admit that indeed the CCP did not. They lied to the World Health Organization when the World Health Organization questioned what was going on in China. So that's a bit of a positive sign, I think.
I love it when they come out with this news that's like, that's not news. Oh, China lied to us. Really? I bet they ate noodles too.
Or rice.
Right.
They eat a lot of white rice over there.
Yeah. Oh, is that Clockwork Orange something right there?
A little bit. Yeah, looks like it. Yeah.
Shinobi is closed. All this stuff. I mean, Charles, this would be like being in a club, shoulder to shoulder on a summer day. Right? The street you wouldn't be able to...
Sure, and this is prime. Prince and West Broadway.
This looks kind of like the style of the Obama, that portrait where he's there with all the flowers and he has 6 fingers.
Yeah, he has 6 fingers in that portrait?
Oh yeah, that was a big to do. And there's a lot of pictures of presidents with 6 fingers.
What does that signify?
Well, I can't remember right now, but people in the comments will probably know. Here's an eyebrow threading place that's using the one eye.
Huh.
But
yeah, so we're actually back to where we started, believe it or not. We're pretty close to where we
well, I mean, it's good to see what's going on. I didn't know there was a Leica store here still.
There isn't.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of places still closed, considering they're opening phase 2 tomorrow. So that's the thing. He's just out there tweeting like, real patriots wear masks.
How would he know?
It's Cuomo, right. I said, no, actually, real patriots defend the Constitution. Criminals and cowards wear masks.
That's right.
So he's just...
And use a charity with his family to steal money, which we're going to get into that some depth.
Something's got to be done. And what was this thing that Hillary said about, if something was wrong, Donald Trump would have locked me up by now?
Yeah, she gave an interview with the CIA Newsweek and said exactly that. Let's stay here so that...
I mean, what is she talking about? Why would she say that? Is she
because she knows something's coming. Durham's getting close. There are other matters that could be moving along around the world. And she knows, I think, that it's not just her Clinton Foundation, the main Bill Hillary and Chelsea Clinton Foundation, but it's the Clinton Family Foundation. We've talked about this in the past. She and Bill have signed multiple false and materially misleading tax returns that have been circulating in the public domain for years. And she could be called out just on that. Forget the bigger Clinton Foundation, but for saying in her family foundation that she gave money to charities, the Clinton, Bill Hillary and Chelsea Clinton Foundation and other affiliates, without disclosing the personal benefits that the Clinton family have gotten. So all of her PF forms, so-called, the equivalent of 990s for
F up forms?
FTP forms, no. All of those forms, or most of the forms, are false and materially misleading. And if we had a real U.S. Attorney and Attorney General here in the Southern District of New York, and an IRS that might be engaged to actually collect taxes from these powerful political crony scumbags, then maybe something would happen. But as a guess, there are enough investigations and enough efforts that have been going on long enough that Hillary does know, and Bill knows, and the accounting firms know, and law firms know, and some of the donors know that something big is going to happen to them. So they want to get out in front of it, so if there is an indictment or the plea agreement or whatever, they can say, oh, this was all just petty accounting stuff, doesn't really matter. You look over here, look at Epstein.
Right.
You know?
Well, that's the other thing, is that it almost seems like a certainty that they're going to try to, if anything happens to Ghislaine Maxwell, they'll say, oh, it's the DOJ covering for Trump because here's a picture of him hanging out with Epstein at a party. What do you think, Charles, now about, previously unknown, but the close time proximity of the firing of Berman and then the arresting of Maxwell?
It's quite interesting. I mean, the Maxwell matter had to have been in progress for a long time, in my view. They didn't just wake up on Thursday morning and say, oh, let's arrest her.
I don't think they've arrested her. I really don't.
Or let's say that we arrested her, which they did say that. Whether they did or didn't is another thing. They nonetheless said they did it. And they issued materials, they issued an indictment. She signed the indictment, as to say the U.S. Attorney. And
did you notice how long she was standing there next to the picture of the indictment while all the cameras were snapping? And she's smiling awkwardly, pointing at it, like looking at everybody like, did you get the picture? Did you get the picture? Berman didn't do anything like that. He went up there, delivered a speech, the cops said something, and they left.
Yeah.
It was weird, that press conference.
Well, time will tell. I do take the point that, I want to understand where, minute by minute, I want to understand where Ghislaine Maxwell is, when the grand jury was seated, what evidence was presented.
How could they have had a grand jury during coronavirus?
I've had different people tell me that there actually are grand juries. Not all of them have stood down. So they had to have had one.
I don't know if you know this guy, Spiro. He used to be on Newsbud, and he's doing independent reporting now. He called the jail where Ghislaine Maxwell is, and there was a automated, who's the prisoner you're looking for thing. A lot of strange things when he tried to find information on Ghislaine Maxwell, and it said the last time this was updated was 3/13.
Really?
Yes.
As in March 13th?
As in 3:13 p.m., as in 3.
Yeah.
As in, she's not in there, Charles. And they're gonna, so the other thing that came up is that David Hawkins sent this to me before anybody else was really sending it around. It's a BBC article that says, Ghislaine Maxwell's condition worsens,
right,
or she goes into intensive care as her coronavirus worsens. And I was like, well, wait a minute, this is a screen capture. Where's the link? And David was like, well, I don't know. So I started looking around for it, and I searched BBC News, I couldn't find it. Then I looked at it, and it turns out the date was July 11th. So I just presumed it was a mock-up that somebody made to be a joker. And David was like, that's so strange. Who would do that? Why would someone do that? And I just filed it away in the internet is loaded with jackasses category. But I mean, it is reminiscent of the Jane Stanley saying, we're getting word that the Solomon Brothers building has collapsed. And they're like, actually, no, it's still there behind you. And then it falls. So maybe the BBC knows what's about to happen.
Yeah. Well, if it is true that she was arrested, and if it is true that she still has evidence, which I believe she does, a lot of people are terrified.
It just doesn't make sense, Charles. If you were a French citizen and you knew,
How you doing?
you knew you could go to friends.
That's right.
Oh yeah, right. How'd that go with Bill Gates?
What?
How'd that go with shutting down Bill Gates?
I mean, a lot of people gave me thumbs up, but I think they forget. You know, they're not putting the pieces together. I'm not going to stop doing outreach, but it's hard because everybody's so focused on other things.
Where can people find you to hear more about your message?
I'm usually in the park.
I mean, do you
here,
have
Foley
a
Square. I've been going to City Hall.
Instagram or anything?
Shut down. Like when I go there,
Oh, you go down to the Chaz and people say, "Get the hell out of here with the anthem."
It's not Chaz. It's a City Hall.
Yeah, City Hall Autonomous Zone.
They call it Abolition Plaza. I mean, there's good people there, but it's like it's control. I don't know, man. It's like people are afraid to It's like they don't want to hear facts. Like maybe it's because I don't look like them, or I don't talk like them. But I'm just trying to help the situation, and I just hope that people can just put race aside, actually, because it's not about that. It's about humanity and dignity, and people operating in secret, conspiring against us. And it's like everyone's just focused on whatever the mainstream media wants us to focus on, and everyone's so capricious in that regard.
What you reading?
This is Edgar Casey's readings that he did for people about, and his son did a study about the ones that refer to Atlantis.
So you're not on Instagram or Facebook or?
I am. Yeah, I told you before.
Tell us again.
NYCactivism.org. WeShare.nyc. I was part of the Occupy Kitchen when we had that. I mean, we were still doing it, but it's like people have their own agendas. And we have very little support, really. But I feel like this is the time where if we don't really get with it, we're not going to have too many chances. I mean, the whole economy's crashed. We have a chance to do something new, better, with dignity, with some sense of morality, and seeing our surroundings and the true nature of who's running things. But if we keep not seeing that, we're just going to be set up for another crime. All these crimes they're like false flags, and we're not really. People don't even know what that term means. So we've got a lot of work to do. It's good you're doing that.
Thanks. And you too.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks.
Good to see you. Remind me your name? Matt?
Yeah, Matt Braylow.
Jason Goodman. Good to see you, Matt. Cool. Take care of yourself.
Right on, right
See you.
All right, thanks.
Charles, we're getting to know everybody.
So we're back at the park. I wonder if we can.
It's so strange. Sometimes it's good for a while, and then sometimes it's doing that all the time. Oh, it's so draining to be out in this heat.
Is it hot?
Check. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. I don't know. I don't hear anything. Check. Hello. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Well, what do you think, Charles?
Let's just go into the center of the park and see if there's anything
Going on
about
there?
to happen. And if so, we'll watch it for a little bit. But we've been going, an hour and a half?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, we're on take 4 or something over here. The thing that's annoying is that, the one that I link to the sponsor shows on Patreon and Subscribestar, if it heats up and blows out, people watching on there have to switch over to YouTube to see it. But I do appreciate all the sponsors who have helped keep the show going, and I hope the people watching now will become sponsors by going to subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. We've got a lot of great shows in the sponsor exclusive library. It looks, Charles, like nothing's going on, really.
Yeah, who knows? In an instant, things can change.
True.
It's a shame they don't have the fountain going.
Yeah, I wonder why they don't have that. It's roasting hot in here. How did that little Schmiegel living in the fountain, not get just so burned up by the sun?
I don't know. Let's see. Which is the shadiest way to walk?
I guess over there.
This way?
Sure. Yeah, so I don't know. We haven't really heard anything from Jeffrey Berman. At first I was thinking perhaps they fired him because he was obstructing the investigation, but now I have a feeling. What do we know about this woman who's the acting U.S. attorney?
We
What's her
don't know
name?
much. Audrey Strauss, I think.
Strauss, right. And they still have Maureen Comey in there.
Yeah, no.
Maureen Comey is still involved in the investigation, Charles. That seems a bit...
She's pretty young, I think, right?
Yeah, but obviously, you know, she probably talks to her father, I would think.
Yeah, we can walk. If you want to walk on the street, I can show you the encampment that I was talking about.
Yeah. See, the cops also don't want to be recorded. They're busy standing around.
There's a little crap.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look at that.
Wow.
I mean, in no way does that make any sense.
Why doesn't that guy just move into this? It's
That's a
powered by
summer home.
biodiesel. He could fuel it.
The two
I mean, Charles, that's a health hazard right there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And there we go. It's just totally fine.
Yeah. They've been giving orders not to.
The cops are just doing nothing.
Well, because they've been ordered to do nothing.
Right.
So, Jason, is there anything else we should talk about?
I don't know, Charles. You're usually much more informed than I am.
Well, I mean, we haven't had a resolution yet on Emmett Sullivan.
Right.
You know, he's managed. Let's go. One
Yeah.
down. He managed to make Michael Flynn's holiday weekend miserable.
I think that's what a lot of these lawyer and judge types like to do.
Yeah. I know what we can do. We can walk along this way to 8th Street and then.
Sure. Yeah, that'll be an interesting spot to check out. That's a lot of what's going on in lawyering and lawfaring, is that it's just about taking swipes, you know, trying to like death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Right. And
It's rarely about justice. It's more about maneuvers.
well, we can expect something to happen with that soon.
We haven't spoken much about this chess area in the park. Normally this is also a very kind of active spot, and people may hear some of the people enticing us to play chess with them, Charles.
Yeah, it's-
I really don't recommend it, even if you're a good chess player,
No, I
because I
know.
believe it's a shakedown. They want money.
Oh, I know. It smells good down here too.
Yeah,
More
on my
cops?
walk over, it was super... Oh, wait a minute, look at this, Charles.
What?
Well, the cops are all hanging out. I think that's...
That's NYU housing.
Yeah, I'm
Or
trying to
dorm.
remember the name of the dorm. It's like, maybe
Hayden
that's...
Hall?
Yeah, Hayden Hall, exactly. And they're guarding that.
We got the right side here.
But if you're in the park and just a person or standing at City Hall, the cops are behind the gate and the people are out there with the lunatics.
So the dean of the NYU Law School used to have an apartment in that building, and the president has a penthouse over here. And I know this because when I was in high school and grade school, I was friendly with the daughter. My brother was friendly with the son of the dean of NYU Law School, whose name is Norman Redlich. You know, why is Norman Redlich famous?
I don't know.
He was on the JFK Commission.
Oh, the Warren Commission?
Warren Commission.
Oh my God. NYU is a disgrace.
But that guy was really smart, Norman Redlich. Really good guy.
The Warren Commission?
No. Norman Redlich, the individual, is very smart. And
What did he say about the Warren Commission?
I was like 12.
Yeah, he's got to be dead, right?
But his son, Ed Redlich, went into Hollywood, and it's a big deal. I forget which one of those cop and robber shows. He's the major domo behind that, Ed Redlich.
So this is basically all NYU stuff along Washington Square North here.
These are some very beautiful buildings.
Yeah.
One of them was the faculty lounge. I forget which one. Maybe the one with the blue NYU, the purple NYU flag.
And then there's some fancy restaurants over here.
Babo, yeah.
Bolo, is that what it is?
Babo.
Babo, right. That's Mario Battaglia. Really excellent restaurant, but the maitre d' is one of the biggest jerks I've ever encountered in my life.
Of course. I think if it's open now, I think they're probably a little less jerky.
I think that guy's got it built in.
We can
So
go.
these look like police cars.
They probably are.
Yeah, they got sirens in them.
So 8th Street that we're getting to here used to be, in 2007, it was, filled. And now it's boarded up, shut down, run down.
Well, I mean,
That's a cute little hotel, Washington Square Hotel. And the restaurant in there's actually, for simple food, is kind of nice.
oh yeah, this is a Christian Scientist thing. I think they've wow, all these places are out of business. You're right, Charles. This is not just Crony.
This is kind of nice. These Muse houses are really expensive, but
This is very French, no?
very English, I would have said.
European.
Yeah. But yeah, all these stores are gone, never to come back. I would guess that this corner is going to get knocked down, although there's pretty heavy zoning in here.
I think de Blasio changed that, right? They crushed that building that Japonica used to be in and made some kind of huge apartment building there, and
right.
longtime residents of that neighborhood were super pissed off. I don't know if there's anything that de Blasio has done that hasn't pissed everybody off.
Yeah.
He is like the biggest douche, right?
I'm the one who wanted to do hero or douche.
Well,
The hero or douche segment.
so yeah, all these places are out of business.
I think they're trying to knock this building down.
Has Trump said anything about the destruction of that Christopher Columbus statue?
I don't know. I've been sort of working all day.
And then, Seattle, I hear they wanted to declare an emergency or something after,
It's a lovely picture.
unbelievable. That used to be a bar many, many years ago in freshman year of NYU. I had a place. The sound is totally gone. Okay, there it's back. Let me get this thing going. Yeah, part of the reason I use the wrist strap is that there's so many things on here that if you touch, it screws it up. And the sweatier my hand gets, the worse it is. Possibly. Okay, it's back.
So yeah, place after place shut down. This Barnes & Noble on the corner has been empty.
B. Dalton, wasn't it? Or maybe it changed to Barnes &
It
Noble,
was
yeah.
Barnes & Noble. But it's been shut for years now.
And that's like prime space.
You would have thought. I mean, 6th Avenue and 8th Street, there's a tremendous traffic, car traffic, foot traffic. There's a bus stop right here. There's a subway
The
stop.
hot dog place is out of business. That was surprising to me.
Yeah.
Cheap food seems to always...
Yeah, that was like a Gray's Papaya
Yeah.
or something like that, right? You
Oh,
want-
and then I guess it was Liquidtaria.
Liquidtaria, yeah, it's gross. Now, do you want, I could walk with you up to 14th and 7th,
Sure.
and then you
Yeah.
go north and and we can stay in this shade.
Yeah, it's roasting hot.
You can fry up an omelet.
So do we have any guests lined up for Wednesday, Charles? I think people are liking the new format for closing in.
We'll get somebody. We can go. Got various ideas. Just wanted to see how the week shakes up.
Yeah, I don't know, the mask thing, really not my deal.
But this is actually pretty
Empty.
light traffic today.
Right. Now this place was pretty early with a lot of outdoor tables.
Right. It's part of it. A rich person owns a bunch of them.
Oh, is that right?
Boucheron on 7th. Let you get a little bit more in the shade.
I wonder if
And they're using the same approach. As if the virus, if it is transmittable this way, wouldn't know to like maybe go under the thing. It's like or
over.
It's
And I've seen countless doctors say that the masks are not intended to block viruses, that the viruses are way smaller than the material of the mask.
well, the other thing is when you talk about medical doctors. Now, I have been involved in situations where top medical doctors got things completely wrong.
Well, and they
So
also argue with each other all the time.
Right, so I'm not of the school of thought that because you have an MD, that means you're infallible and you know exactly what's going on. But I'm certainly of the school of thought that just because you're a smart person, you think, that does not make you a doctor.
Right.
And
Well, actually, it's called AAD. Also a doctor.
because take for example, I mean, one of the reasons I stopped advising big public companies about buying and selling companies, and instead said, why don't I do this myself on a smaller scale, is that you get somebody who's a CEO and they've never made an acquisition before in their life, and they decide they're going to do it, and because they're the CEO and they're paying you,
They know everything.
they know everything.
Right.
Right, and you have to say, listen, I know you think this is correct, but it isn't.
Yeah.
You know, I've done this umpty-ump times. We can go do what you want to do, and you will get thrown in jail. But
You should have let them do that.
But
Then do a hostile takeover while they're in jail. Oh, look, Nail Spa 33, Charles. Well, this is very similar to like,
this used to be a Mexican place, didn't it?
well, now it's an American bar and Mexico's going to have to pay for it. But the same thing used to happen to me, Charles. Discovery Channel hired me to shoot one of their shows when they had a 3D network. And they were like, oh, Jason, you know, we love your work. We want you to do this show.
Do it this way.
And
do
it's
it
gonna,
that way.
right. And I was like, okay, well, we need my Steadicam operator and this camera. And they're like, oh, no, you got to use all this stuff. And it's like, right, but that's not going to work. Like, make it work. I was like, wait a minute, I thought you hired me because you like my work and you think I know what I'm doing, and now you're telling me to do something that's not going to work.
Yeah.
So
Welcome to life.
they went out of business.
That's
Maybe he's old. I'm not sure exactly, but he is old. Yeah. He's old, my boy. Huh? Yeah.
So there we go, walking in reverse.
right.
I mean, this is all dead around here, Charles. This would normally be very, very full.
And this is prime village territory.
Absolutely.
When the city, if it ever does come back, this will come roaring back down
not
here. It's
so-
really very nice on the weekends. This all the way up to 8th Avenue and then further over, further
I'm not
west.
seeing this roaring back. I don't understand how that's expected to happen.
Well, one final thought on this issue. We've got more and more cases. You know, I think there are a bunch of charlatans out there making the argument that more cases equals more problem.
Right.
I mean, if it is true that if you're under 45, getting this is an infinitesimally small probability that you're going to have a serious consequence, then, you know, we've only tested 20 million out of 335 million people.
Yeah.
So we want to just start finish
Yep.
here. You know, I think it's specious of Fauci and Redfield and the others to start, you know, agitating just now for maybe another lockdown, and let's, you know, wring our hands and grit our teeth, and, you know,
He came out yesterday and said 100,000 people are going to die if we don't lock it down again. If we don't change something soon or whatever
Yeah.
he said.
he should stop getting airtime, in my view. So here we are, Jason, back at close to 14th and
But you know what I think
7th.
I didn't realize, Charles?
what?
Well, we've got a view over here of Hudson Yards, and that building that's got the wedge or the ledge or whatever, it's a pyramid.
Huh, yeah.
I think I didn't, maybe that's not obvious from other angles.
Oh.
What do you think of that Hudson Yards?
A lot of expensive real estate. We'll see how well it does.
Not the best timing.
And we'll see what it does to the older real estate. I mean, it could be that people will leave here to go there if they don't leave the city, but I think they're just going to leave the city.
Yeah. Many more people working from home. Many more people not feeling like hanging out in urban. First of all, a lot of the convenience to the city is gone. All these places
Right.
that were 24 hours aren't anymore. Retail, you know, the variety of retail that was here is not anymore.
And you can get a lot of it online.
The apartments are so expensive. I think a lot more people are, look, you spend 4 months, you're like, you know what, spending time at home maybe is okay. People probably want to enjoy their homes more.
I agree. It's going to be, this is going to be, as history writes about this, the people who proposed this will go down as some of the most arrogant, stupid people ever to walk the face of the earth. And the consequences, the negative consequences of this for them, I hope will be serious.
Andrew Cuomo,
Yeah,
Bill de Blasio.
Bill de Crazio.
Well, with that, Charles, I think we'll wrap it up today. Thanks everybody for watching. Sorry about those false starts. My hand is really hot right now from holding this, but luckily I shouldn't even say it.
All right.
Didn't drop the phone.
All right.
All right. See everybody tomorrow. Thanks for